So we're going to talk a little bit about the John Deere strike and the John Deere settlement with the UAW. Marcus Day for World Socialist website has been doing some freaking bang up work, man.
No, I heard, pray tell, Indy, that the Deere workers got a huge win. A huge win on this strike that they had happen.
It certainly was a win in a lot of ways. Oh, that's not cool. So it was a win in a lot of ways, but in some other ways, it was not so much a win. And it was kind of washed over. And Marcus actually did write a follow-up article about how labor notes and DSA were kind of whitewashing some of the compromises and the railroading that was happening by the UAW. And this is actually a commentary that he had taken from some of the UAW workers themselves. And a headline like that makes me sit up and take notice, say, okay, what's going on here? So,
yeah,
Deere workers announced UAW dirty tricks operation to pass contract. They're criminal scumbags. Wow. Well, so as 10,000 John Deere workers began to return to plants and warehouses in recent days following the shutdown of their 5-week-long strike, anger has remained high in the UAW union, which used threats and intimidation in order to secure passage, right? So they declared that their last, best, and final offer was ratified by 61%, marking the illegitimate outcome of an undemocratic process overseen by the union, which effectively forced workers to re-vote on the contract that they had already rejected 2 weeks earlier, which is exactly what they did. Okay, they rejected it. Then they said, this is our best and final offer, and said, well, we better have another vote and make sure that now that you know that they may look to replace you with permanent scabs. So, UAW's...
Quick, before you get any further, if you want to hit that virtual webcam and turn your mini bird off, hit that button. That way I can read the full thing.
Sure, virtual webcam.
People at home are like, what? Mini bird? Yeah,
mini
there
bird.
You go.
Cool.
Thank you.
So, UAW's betrayal of the strike blocked Deere workers for now from pressing ahead at a particularly vulnerable point for the company. Confirming this, the financial news outlet Bloomberg wrote last week, the strike had thrown several of Deere's businesses into turmoil. Software engineers and computer programmers left their desks to assemble sprayers and combines in manufacturing plants instead. Serious delays in replacement parts threatened farmers who rely on functional machines and speedy repairs at peak harvest. Used farm equipment prices were hitting record highs amid shortages. So this was actually working.
Yeah.
Okay. So several workers at the plants in Waterloo, Iowa, said that about the UAW's efforts to coerce them into voting yes. Okay. That workers at Local 838 voted to reject the final offer as well as the proposed agreements, earlier ones. Okay, a skilled tradesman described the UAW's efforts to intimidate workers into voting yes last Wednesday. I can tell you that the day I voted, I was approached by several UAW stewards and such who did everything they could to change my vote, even trying to show me that one could make over $100,000 a year on this new contract once they retire. Look at this. At one time, I had 5 guys surrounding me to intimidate me into changing my vote. Whenever I would give them a different viewpoint, they would call me a conspiracy theorist and say I was just being negative. By the end of this, the last person just stated, just go vote no. You're a loser and your vote won't matter anyways. Like they knew it was a yes vote anyway.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
Okay, so yeah, voter intimidation. We're not limited to Waterloo. Here in Davenport. All right, UAW election chair is responsible for overseeing the vote. Phil Gonterman stated on Facebook that he planned to use his position as inspector to retaliate against those who opposed the contract.
Would fuck their lights out for every quality issue. Jeez.
Yep. Skilled trades worker said, although there was a mood of frustration and disappointment among those who rejected the deal, workers who voted yes indicated they had not done so because they supported the contract, but because they felt that they had no other choice. Yeah. Even some of the yes voters felt like they were forced to vote yes because they were convinced this was the best we could have gotten. And I don't know if it was or it wasn't. But
Yeah.
the longer that they would have been hurting the company, I think that they would
The
have
more desperate
been
the
brought
company
back
would
to
have
the
gotten.
table. Yeah, I do think
Yeah.
so. All right. Referring to the changes to the CIPP pay for performance system, which the company added to its last best and final offer after workers rejected its second tentative agreement with the UAW. He said that whole new BS plan won't even begin until January 1st, 31st next year. And my guess is they'll butcher the areas that have high proficiency to pay the plans on the lower end.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to... Not many people have shown up at all. So few have shown up that they canceled this weekend shift. So no solidarity from our union officials at our local.
Right.
They're all for their little clique. If you aren't in it, then too bad. Not surprising. So yeah, for sure, standing with the John Deere workers again. They again want to try to go around the UAW and create a workers rank and file committee. All right, throughout the struggle, committee gave voice to workers' demands to restore. So it is an advocacy group. It's unbelievable. You need a union within the union within the union now just to fight the union.
Yep.
So this is a story that frustrated the heck out of me. I saw, people who I really like, admire, and trust championing and saying they did such a great job and they got themselves a great deal. Okay, but all and they did get an increase. Oh, it must be 420. It is 1220. No, it's 1215.
1215, close enough.
Nice, close enough. All right. The 61% was done by bullying tactics. They would never have gotten that 61%. Again, if they hadn't done this last best and final offer type of thing. Again, and if the union had stood by the workers and said, we don't care if it's your last best and final offer, it's still not good enough because it wasn't good enough.
Right.
But all of a sudden now it was good enough and it was something, and it is neoliberal compromise. And now we're seeing it.
If they fired all those workers, what do you think the media would have done? Like, at least our media would have heavily talked about it.
Well, but they would have blamed the workers. Chances are.
Yeah. Yep.
That's usually the way it works. So that's the John Deere story. Again, it wasn't so rosy for the workers. They're doing a little bit better in their contract. They certainly got some improvements, but they feel like they got screwed over by their own union, at least from the worker perspective.
Well, you better get hip to indie left, indie left, indie left.news.